Well, everyone, Jockeys again. Hey, I returned to Springfield. I've returned to Springfield in the no train horn zone where they've got the horns mounted on the poles. Here's one right here. This is a horn mounted on a pole. It's aimed at the cars. So when a train comes by, that will blare real loud straight towards the cars. There's one on the other side over there too. There's Norfolk, Southern Maine. We've got a clear signal down that way. So we've got a train coming, a westbound train on Norfolk Southern. We're gonna see how these signals work here with the horn on the pole. This is gonna be really cool. Look at that, there it is. You'll hear that thing blare when the train comes. So we're gonna get a train over here. Right over there is another one on that pole. You can see it right there. There's also a few little spurs over here that are kind of interesting. So here we go, start the video, son. We're in downtown Springfield, Ohio at a no train horn zone. It has a horn mounted on the pole. All right, anytime that thing's gonna activate because there's a train coming right now. Do your thing. Let's go. A lot of traffic here too. DPU, I see you. This is a long one here. I can't tell if the lights are flashing on the right. Just looking at them, I can't even see them. They're so dim. Wow, that was a long train. Nice looking DPU and everything. That was a good one. Got the traffic all messed up here, and that's how this crossing works with those horns. I guess there's only two horns, one on each side of the track. You can see them right there. All right, let's see what else we can get into. That was pretty cool. Check out this old rickety spur here in Springfield. Look at that. It's like on the east side of town. Goes to a customer down that way. It's shiny. It gets used quite a bit. The main track is just right over there. You can see where it ties in. It's got a derail switch right there, right before you get to the main. It's uphill to the derail. So to have a car rolling and happen to use that derail is pretty unlikely, because this goes uphill. Here's an abandoned railroad spur. Look at this. It's got some really old rail here too. Let's have a look at this. You can still see the railroad ties. Got one rail still in place here. Look how it's connected there. That's really old school, isn't it? Look at that. Let's find some markings on the rail here too. The track keeps on going through those woods. It's kind of hard to see it because of all the brush and poison ivy and everything. All right, I found something. There you go. 1926. Count the dashes for the month. I'm not really sure what that is. 90-pound rail, it looks like. And let's see. It's kind of hard to read. Let's go over here. This end of it. All right, here you go. Made in Belgium. That rail was made in Belgium in 1926. That's interesting. So you've got one side of the rail still here, and the track keeps on going through those woods. I saw it about 100 feet down. There's a clearing to the woods. You can still see the track there. There you go. I figured out what these tracks are here at the Horn Crossing. This is really interesting. Okay, this track right here is a connector track that connects the Indiana and Ohio Railroad to the Norfolk Southern. Right here it says Indiana and Ohio maintenance starts going that way to the right. Over here, Norfolk Southern maintenance starts going to the left. The middle track is the main line for the Norfolk Southern. Then that track that goes off right there goes to a customer that Norfolk Southern services. That track goes close to 1.5 miles to a customer, and they receive lumber on bulkhead flat cars and also box cars. So the track goes down there about close to 1.5 miles to the customer, and 3 other tracks branch off of it, and then it just dead ends. And it looks like they use it pretty much with the shine on the rails.
On wait, there's more. There always is.
All right, so I moved a little ways east of that last crossing, and here's where all 3 tracks are separated at a railroad crossing, and this also has the horns. There's a business over here, but they don't use the rail. The closest track to me is the customer that uses bulkhead flat cars and box cars. It's the closest track to me. Look at this, there's an old loading dock right there. So there's the customer gate. I'm near the end of the line where the customer's at right there. Maybe a 1/4 mile over that way. There's an old loading dock right there where you could load stuff onto box cars back in the day. All right, so here's the track for the customer. Then you've got the Norfolk Southern track here in the middle. And the track farthest away, that's the Indiana and Ohio. That's the connecting track from Norfolk Southern to Indiana and Ohio. See, some kind of a creek right here. And you've got the horns. This is a no train horn zone. And there's the horns on the pole that are aimed at the cars. The theory is that the horn is aimed at the car and doesn't just get scattered everywhere. So it's supposedly quieter for people. I think it actually is. So there's all 3 tracks right here. There you go. All right, check this out. Here's another one of those adapters that goes from heavier pound rail to lighter pound rail. Now I've got this thing figured out. On the right hand side, that's a 115 pound rail. It even says it. On the left hand side is 90 pound rail. See that right there? 90 pound on the left, 115 pound on the right. And I actually found markings on the rail to confirm that. So that's pretty interesting. It's heavier pound rail because it's next to the railroad crossing here. There's the old loading dock. Wonder when that was last used. Here's something else that's real interesting in Springfield. There's a coaling tower on the Indiana and Ohio Railroad. Right there. They're way back a long lane. That's how you used to put coal in the steam locomotives way back in the day. That's pretty awesome seeing that. Still there. Hasn't been in use in decades.
But wait, there's more. Of course, always is. Hey, I think we might have a train coming. What's that? 185.1. No defects.
We've got a train coming from that direction right there, and it's going to be going off onto the I&O connection. Look at this. Got some rust on there, so it hasn't been a train on that line in a little while, probably not today. And that rail was rolled in 2006 by RMS, Rocky Mountain Steel. I think that's what that was. 132 pounds per yard. So we're gonna have a train coming from that direction right there. So this is gonna be interesting. All right, here's the signals, and I see a milepost, 182. So I picked them up on the scanner. They were 3 miles away at 185 going past the defect detector. And look at the rust on the rails. So this is gonna get all shined up here in just a minute. Indiana and Ohio Railway, they're on the Norfolk Southern line right now, and this is where the tracks come together. So they'll be getting off Norfolk Southern, getting on their own track right here. Yes, I'm blessed for this. This is really lucky. All right, I can see a headlight. Let's listen for those horns on the pole. Those are going to be activated here at any time. See if we can hear them down this far. I'm zoomed in 6 times. Should be activated any time. There you go. Horns on a pole. Look at this. Is that cool or what? Diverging onto the Indiana and Ohio Railway. sectional rail. You can hear that clacking really good. Empty grain train. Somebody sure wants to move a lot of grain. This is. Wow, that sure shined the rails up. Norfolk Southern's bringing a whole bunch of empty grain cars over to Indiana High Railway. That was a monster train. Took 9 minutes to go past me. Look how shiny these rails are now. Look at that.
That sure shined them up. All right, let's see what else we can get into. That was really cool. That was luck to get that one. Here's some more abandoned track in Springfield. Look there, there's a switch point right there. This is where it went from one track to two. Most of the track is still there. They just flipped one of the rails over on its side, on the right hand side. There's two tracks that go back into those trees. Used to be a customer over there on the left. Wonder how long that'll last like that. It's a lot of rail. But wait, there's more. There always is. We're in South Solon, Ohio. Here comes the train. Got a level grade crossing here, so this will be pretty awesome. I just now got here. I didn't think I was going to get here in time because I got stuck behind the farm machinery, but I made it. They slowed down a little bit. You can just barely see their headlights showing up. The rail fans are still pulling in. All right, there you go. That was it. We're gonna have to move on up the road again. Look at this little town. There's a fire station right over there. Let's see, what's that say? Stokes Township Volunteer Fire Department. South Solon. All right, check this out. I got the Ohio Rail Experience train coming back. And we are, one second. We're just south of Jeffersonville.
We're coming up on our crossing now. Here in about another half mile, and then we'll do the handoff there.
I'm getting the Ohio Rail Experience train coming back at Creamer Road.
There, and then we'll go from there.
Getting ready to come around that curve any time now. They're talking about doing some kind of handoff, I guess, by their station, which is just a mile or so back behind me. This will be a great shot. Look at this. I hear them. So I got the Ohio Rail Experience train. I got a couple freight trains in Springfield while I was there on Norfolk Southern. So that's pretty awesome. Had a pretty good day here today. They should be coming around that curve because I can hear them.
He came in on that radio loud and clear. So anytime. Here they come.
Conductor Matt Fritchie, the ballast here is a little steep on either side, so be careful getting down.
Well, they're going to do a handoff here of some sort.
Mike, about 30 seconds to spare.
And pulling, baby.
All right, well, guess we're just getting a picture. I'm not sure what they're doing. Said something about a handoff. Maybe it's just pictures. I'm gonna cut and wait till they start moving. Huh. Maybe they're changing crews. I don't know what they're doing, really. There she goes. They'll be in Washington Courthouse real soon and dropping everybody off. They left Urbana about 4 p.m. Urbana's about 50 miles north of Washington Courthouse. And it's almost 6:30 right now. All right, there you go. That was cool. Thanks for watching. Hey, here's a close look at the track here on the Indiana Ohio Railroad. 131 pounds per yard, open hearth method, manufactured by Illinois, USA. 1942, April of 1942 is when that was rolled. That's some pretty good rail, 131 pounds. But wait, there is more, like there always is. Hey, I'm at Conroe right now. I'm just north of Washington Courthouse. It's around 7:30 p.m. and here comes the train. This is a 4-track yard. 3 of the tracks have freight cars on them. The track in the middle that you can see of the 3, there's a couple locomotives on that one. They're idling. I can hear them idling. So the train's going to come around on the right hand side. It'll come around them on the right, then it's going to come back onto the main track and then go past me. They must be running late because it's supposed to just be a 10-hour ride. 10 hours would be 6:30 when they got back, since they left at 8:30. So they might be running just a little bit late because it's 7:30 right now. All right, here they come. All right, here they come. Look at that, all 4 tracks are filled up now. Partially shooting into the sun. The sun just came out real bright. Another rabbit. That's the 3rd rabbit I've seen here. All right, there you go. That is it for me. I'm headed home. I'm burning up. I should have had my hat on. I forgot my hat. It's in the truck. I brought it though. Check out another video if you can. A review helps my channel. All right, see you later.
Hey, there's Chessie. What are you doing today, Chessie? Just kind of laying around? Where's your buddy Loki at? Oh, I know where he is. He's right over there. There he is, laying underneath my computer, next to my shoes. That is a good doggy.